The Apostle Paul said we would not have you ignorant of the trouble that we face in Asia. And that word ignorant has really three different meanings, but one of them is uninformed, that you don't know what's going on. The second one is misinformed. And often that's what happens when you're going through different crises. It's like when the airplane's getting ready to go down, and they tell you when they're doing that safety drill, they said, if we have any kind of emergency or there's going to be an evacuation and oxygen is released, put the oxygen mask on yourself first and take care, because you're going down. You're in an emergency, you're in a crisis. And sometimes when you're facing crisis or pressure, you don't have the ability to stop and explain to everybody what's going on, or let me tell you, or let me take care of you because I'm going down. I'm just trying to get above it, gasp for air myself, so I've got to put oxygen on. That's why people don't often understand your praise. They don't understand your perception. And it's so critical as believers that we walk in the love of Christ, that we walk out in the Word of God, because you look at everyone from the very beginning, from Genesis to Revelation, they're all going to face pressure. They're all going to go through crisis. So sometimes people's actions in your life, whether they don't reach out to you or if they say something stupid or they're misinformed, that's okay. Walk in the love of God anyhow.
As believers, we're people of faith. So the Apostle Paul says in verse 3, he says, we glory in tribulation. It means we boast or we rejoice. Tribulation means pressure. It's trouble. And pressure means the burden or oppressive condition of physical, mental, social, or economic disorders. It's the action of a force against an opposing force. So it is the stress or urgency of matters demanding attention. You don't have pressure until you have an urgent matter. It's urgent. If this doesn't happen now, come on. It's not pressure if you've still got enough money in the bank. It's not pressure if she's sitting at home and still, I love you and everything's good. But see, when you get under pressure, it's funny because one thing begins to affect everything. It's kind of like, have you ever stubbed your toe in the middle of the night? You know, you go and you stub your big toe and it shoots through your whole body and you feel it everywhere. That's what pressure will do. It will start impacting everything. So you get under financial pressure and it begins to impact your relationship. You get under relational pressure and it begins to impact your attitude. You get a bad attitude and it begins to impact how you perform on the job. You have pressure on the job now, pressure with the relationship, pressure with the finances. Now it begins to impact your health. Now you start to have a faith crisis because you're not even sure if everything you've been standing for and believing for is really real, because everything seems to be under pressure. Am I here for the right group today? Am I talking to the right people? Anybody ever had pressure? Anybody ever gone through some trouble? Well, for the rest of you that have never had pressure, be patient with the 10 of us for just a minute. Because when you find yourself in a situation, you often find yourself in pressure doing things that you didn't want to do. Now, I know nobody's going to confess, but me, I'll talk about it. But you know you've cussed your spouse out and you didn't want to. Oh, okay, see why you looking at me like that? Please don't make me you know you have. You know you've said things that you wish you would have never said. You know you've lost it. You know at night you take that blanket and you pull it like this and you make sure that it comes right off them, and you're doing it just to be mean and irritate them. You know you did that. And then they're going to sit there and act like they don't feel it until they get mad enough they grab it and roll it back over. And then you're going to sit there for 30 minutes and then they're going to do it, and the next thing you know, you don't even know why you're fighting, having a knockdown, drag out, jumping on the hood of a car, going crazy, and they're calling the cops. Now, why do you act like that has never happened anyone in your family? Please don't. I know it's your crazy cousin. It never happened to you. So if you could only see what I've seen, y'all like, this in me. I know, just chill out with me for just a minute. So watch, pressure causes all kinds of crazy stuff to happen. And Paul declares in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 8 through 10, he says, for we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of measure, above strength, insomuch that we despaired even life. He said, we have so much pressure on us, we're suicidal. That's what that translates to. We don't even want to live because there's so much pressure. And that's what, listen, let me tell you why people commit suicide. People commit suicide because they lose all hope, because there's so much weight on their life that they can feel no way out of it. And so when you become that hopeless, there's no tomorrow. And so suicide is simply too much weight that doesn't ever feel like it'll lift off. And when a person gets there and you think, that'll never happen to me. Man, I never thought I'd go through depression. But you're going to see when you start getting under too much weight, because the enemy doesn't want you to have a bad hair day. He wants to destroy you. When you start getting under enough weight, you don't think right. You don't see right. Nothing's logical, because you're so weighted. You're way beneath the baseline. That's why I don't judge people in what they do, because I don't know what kind of pressure is pushing a person down that far. That's why here's what you're going to see from me. I'm not going to point a finger to you. I'm going to hold a hand out to you. I'm going to hold my hand out because I don't know what would press a person far enough, because no one wants to derail and wreck their life. No one wants to mess everything up. Nobody doesn't want to be right with God and right with the people they love. And so when you get under that kind of pressure, you start making decisions that make no sense. Look at your neighbor, say, I think she's talking to you right now.
We were cleaning out one of her closets in New York, and just, organizing things, getting rid of some of the old stuff that she doesn't wear anymore. That is, we give away a lot of her clothes. And it just kind of seems like the day-to-day tasks that we do together is kind of where she gets a lot of her sermon material. And we were talking about how unorganized it was, and that's kind of my specialty with her, is getting things organized and back in order.
All right, it's all gonna go with the furry boots.
Please.
Selah. And then we make room and we get new. And do I have actually white cream suede boots up there?
They're studded as well.
And this is why this is so important that all this stuff goes, because it's like life. If you don't, life gets too noisy. It's just noisy, and it's all this stuff, and you can't have clarity. But if you move the clutter out of the way, if you clear the clutter, sometimes in life it just gets noisy. There's so much clutter. There's just so much around us. It's hard to hear. It's hard to really zone in and focus and have that clarity with God. That's why it's so important that you unlayer, you remove the things that don't fit your life anymore. You clear the clutter, literally. And for me, even in the natural, it sounds so funny, but I think better.
I do too.
When things are organized and things are purged, it saves time. I can put my hands on it.
She kind of spun this situation into a sermon about clearing out the clutter and getting rid of the old to make room for the new, and how when you're organized, things run more smoothly in your life. And it's funny how she can always seem to turn just like what we're dealing with in that moment into a sermon. I swear she could preach on a ballpoint pen and make it into a sermon.
Well, the one good thing I do have to say, at least all the stuff which is kind of going and stuff, at least it's still color coded and all, because I'm not going, where's that black sweater? Where's this, where's that? And wasting 30 minutes, which time is so valuable. When something just weighs on you, you've got too much stuff, you just have to start removing the layers. And the Bible says this, every weight that so easily besets you, you're to remove it. You're to take it off. It talks a lot about taking off. Take off the garments of heaviness. Put on the garments of praise. Sometimes we keep things just laying around in our life that need to be let go.
Far too long.
Far too long. And why do we nurture what needs to be neutered? Cut it out. Cut it off. Why are you laughing?
Because I wish I could answer that question. Why
do you hold on to things too long sometimes?
Sometimes.
Yeah. How do you know when to let it go?
I think I might throw things away too soon.
She'd been facing this issue, and it just seems to come out of me that I'm always saying something or teaching, and it's not that I'm meaning to tell you a lesson, it's just like talking. And I hate when we walk in atmospheres and I feel weight, I feel cluttered. And I was saying, we've got to clear these things out. Well, Andrea will throw things away too soon. I'll hold on to things too long. So sometimes I have a tendency to get a few too many storage bins and hold on to things. And I was understanding the reason, and I wanted to get to Andrea and really help her see. Because a person has to locate that issue or that situation in their own life, but really help her see, why does she release things so fast? Why does she let go? Interesting. Why do you let go of things beforehand?
I'm a purger. I don't know. Why do I? Figure me out.
Oh, I've got you figured out, but I want to see why you think you do. Because if you already know this, if I tell you why you do it, then you're not going to receive it. But if I help you discover why you do it and you tell yourself why you do it, then you'll receive it. So if I say to you, you do it because of this, but if I say, why do you do that? And you begin to answer those things. Why do you think you let go of things too fast?
Are we talking about clutter in my house, or are we going deeper?
Does it all relate?
Probably.
Doesn't it all relate?
Probably.
I mean, how my life, isn't my life, the external is an outflow of the internal? Like what's inside really is an outflow, or what's outside is really an outflow of what's inside. So why do you let go of things?
I think I just get tired. I want new. I get tired of old stuff, seeing the same thing all the time in my room and cluttering up my drawers. I want organization and neat, and just, I like to purge. And not only did she turn everything into a sermon, but she knew the cameras were rolling, and she's trying to get to me and relate that back to me. Like, she tends to hold on to things a lot longer than she needs to. I make her throw stuff away, make her give her clothes away. But that's my thing, is I throw stuff away. My trash is always full. I give clothes away. I get rid of things maybe too soon, before their time. So she was trying to dig down into the root of that. Like, why do I get rid of stuff so easily and so quickly? And I don't want to deal with that right now. We'll talk about that later.
We're going to get to that and find out what it is that maybe causes you not to plant and get deep roots. Like what happened that causes you to run or want to leave something?
Another program?
Another program. Let's go talk about it. I get to the place to teach Andrea, and I can see the wall go up. And that's something you always have to be sensitive to. I tend to like to push the envelope to help a person, not by being pesty or in their face, but for us to really face ourselves. And maybe you are a person that holds on to things like me, or you let go of things, and your very body will show you that. You know, your body, your physical body, if you locate, it'll tell you you hold on or you let go. Things should be pretty normal and regular in your life. I mean, your body should function as it's supposed to. And if it doesn't, you need to ask yourself some questions. What do I do? Why am I always holding on? Why do I have every piece of memorabilia? Why do I still have, whether it's your prom, queen tiara, and you're 50 years old now, and dimples and everything sagging, but you still look at the photographs and stuff. What is it that you're really holding on to? So are you one that hoards, keeps clutter, or are you one that constantly purges? It's hard for you to root in anything. Ironically, both of them kinda are in the same vein or genre of issue, but they just manifest two different ways. And I'm sure we'll get to that, but you need to ask yourself, am I a hoarder or am I a purger? Do I hold on to things past their due season, or do I let go of things prematurely?